Okay, welcome everybody. Another week of our weekly review. Welcome to the newcomers. Seems we have a couple of newcomers every week, so welcome. And welcome back to the old friends. The way it works is quite simple. Well, I'm presenting my own personal analysis. None of this is a solicitation to buy or sell any assets. Anything you decide to trade on is your own risk. With that being said, I will walk through my presentation on a couple of different assets, things that we can anticipate to see this week. And I will pause for questions in between the assets. It's quite simple. Okay, so if you have a question, you can raise your hand, and I will call on you. Okay, it seems like there's already someone in the queue. So Francis is here. Hi, Francis. How are you, honey? Do you have a question? Turn on your mic because you already raised your hand. Speak to me, Francis.
No, it's okay, thanks. I think I pushed the wrong button.
I think so too, but I wanted to make sure. Okay.
No problem.
No problem. Bye. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. All right, so we'll just start at the top. Oops. Second. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. Let's get the pen out, and hopefully this will work. I was having some technical difficulties this past week with the drawing, so hopefully we won't screw up anything too much, but here we go. First of all, being that we've completed the month, we'll take a look at the monthly candles this week also. And, you know, looking at the ES monthly chart, which is in the top right quadrant over here, we can see that there is absolutely no reason to be anything other than long. We have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, almost a whole year of up one after the other. And, you know, if you ignore this little doji in here, you know, more than a year of monthly ups. So, you know, no reason whatsoever to be considered getting short from that time frame perspective. Even on the weekly chart, we could see that we're about 10 or 12 weeks in a row now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 12 weeks or so of straight up. We haven't had a real red candle, you know, since the summer. So there's, again, no reason to think we are going to be going down just yet. All right. Even from a daily perspective, you know, every little dip is being bought. We're in euphoric mode, and you know, it makes no sense whatsoever to try to get short from any of the higher time frame trades. You will get destroyed. That being said, when we start to go down to some of the lower time frames, you know, so what do we see? Well, that's a 240 chart right there, and that looks like a double top to me. It is a double top to the tick and the high. So, you know, what does that mean? Well, that means normally what happens is the middle of the double top will usually get broken, which would bring us back to somewhere down here. But again, that doesn't necessarily have to happen this time around, because anytime we start selling off, it's almost immediate reaction. Like, people are waiting for any little dip to get a chance to buy this, or I don't even know if it's any more people. It might just be central banks. I don't even know who the hell is playing with this thing and buying it all the way up here. But, you know, buy the dip is working every single time. Here's the double top on the 60. You can see, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. And there's the middle, which would put us, you know, basically back to, you know, 25.50 or something like that down here, about 30 points potentially on the bottom. Are you guys not getting audio? If you're not getting audio, you have to click on the mic, on the little telephone thing. Okay. You guys, I'm assuming, are hearing me, so I'm going to continue. Yep. Someone tell Pam what to do. Okay, so in the meantime, there is this middle piece down here that would be the middle of this double top here. So, you know, I think we have a chance to get back to here. So, you know, also looks like a sort of a slanted head and shoulders, right? If we're counting this on an angle, you know, we could say it's shoulder up here. So there's a little bit of weakness coming, but again, not something I'm willing to trade just yet. More of a chance to maybe buy lower at this point until we really start getting to see lower highs on the chart. No reason to think that we're going to sell off. So just keep that in mind and be very careful when you're getting short in this market. Okay. Other than that, I don't see any good setups, so I'm just going to move on. NQ on the monthly chart, massive blow up, right? We know that NQ just took off. So again, no reason to be being short. We're sitting at all-time highs again. There's just zero supply overhead. and it's only, it's just going to keep going until they decide that, something happens or a news event or some kind of catalyst to get this thing, to turn over. But for now, there's just no reason. Weekly, monthly, everything is just sky high. You could see anytime we come back into any little pullback area, we just take off and get to new highs. Okay, and it's been happening over and over for the past few years, for that matter. So the idea is, until it starts to create higher time frame, lower highs, don't try to get short. Just buy the dip like everybody else is doing, and it's seems to be working for you, right? So some demand zones to look at probably around here, around 6,000 for sure, will be a pretty good demand zone if we can get back down there, but that's already 300 points away from where we are. So obviously not something we're, gonna, expect to see quite soon. Again, you'll know when this thing starts turning over when you start to see lower highs on the higher time frame, excuse me. Until then, just look at the demand and buy the pullback. Okay, so NQ made another all-time high up there. Not much to talk about. Okay, moving on to crude actually, because there's some action there. Let's talk about that. If anyone has a question on any of the equities, you can raise your hand now, and I'll try to respond. But that's exactly the error I did not want to see. Damn it. Okay, that is going to cause trouble. Hopefully I can get it off here without having to shut down the whole meeting. That sucks. Oh, damn. Okay, so I don't know what's been going on. I'm having this pre-conference call issue with the drawing. It's just screwing up my trade station for some reason. So I'm going to jump out, and I will be back in 2 or 3 minutes. So you guys just hang out here, okay? I'll be back in a minute. Alright, you guys can still hear me, but I'm in the middle of setting it up. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, should be back. Should be able to see in now. All right, we're good to go. Screen up, yes, no, maybe. Cool. All right, let's go. Okay, so we're talking about crude, okay? Right about where we are. Let me just move some stuff out of the way so I can see. Okay. First of all, on the monthly chart, okay? Let's actually blow it up for a second, okay? You'll notice that we've just taken out this middle pivot right here, right? We've taken out the highs, and we're sort of into the air on the monthly chart, coming into what should be very strong supply, right, up here around the 60 area, right, the last monthly supply zone that's on the chart, created back almost 2 years ago. So, you know, for now, that's the ultimate target where I think we're going to have a really hard time up there, but, you know, we're not there yet, obviously, right? And we're going to make our way there. The question is, what's the path to get up there, okay? So if we look at the weekly chart, obviously we've had 2 weeks in a row, bang, bang. We were looking for longs, and it worked out beautifully. And I believe it's time to sell off. We should be seeing a pullback before we get up to that fresh supply zone. That last, you know, Friday ballistic move in the afternoon is pretty much, I think, you know, a stop run before they start selling the shorts off this week. I think we're going to turn around and you know, head back into this zone before we actually make that move up to 60s. So I'm actually looking. You can see we closed outside the Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart with a really strong 2 weeks in a row. You know, 50 to 52 up to like 55 and change in 2 weeks, just straight boom. So a little bit of a ballistic move and a little bit fake on Friday, I think, you know, just running stops at the end of the day. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a little bit of a sell-off this week. Not a major sell-off, but a sell-off back into this breakout area that we have back here. I'm not going to really attempt to draw right now. I don't want to just, you know, freeze up this thing. I'll just use the crosshairs for now. But this area right here should get a back test somewhere in the 52 to 50 range right here. You could see it was actually the prior highs back here that we broke out up to the top, and we got up into this area where we're way stretched. So I would look for weakness in crude. It's, again, going to be a counter-trend move. And likely, you know, a buyable move after it's over. But it's going to be a couple of dollars to the downside. You don't want to really be long anymore up here. You'd rather be short. I would say looking for crude to bounce back into the 52 to 50 range, somewhere down here, and then start turning around for the next leg up into 60. All right, and that's where we should be getting, I would say, probably you know, maybe another month from now, we'll be up at 60 or so. So the next week or so, we're going to be selling off, and then we would turn around and start to rally again. By the time we get to, you know, I'd say about a month from now, beginning of December, maybe we'll be up in that 60 zone. So this week, I'm looking to be short, okay? We're closing outside the Bollinger Bands up here. We've already had supply on just about every higher time frame zone. You know, we've taken out some of the supply that's up there. Okay, let me just point out to you where we're looking for chances to join this if you didn't take the shorts yet. Where we're sitting up here, and you can see that this is what I'm talking about. This move on Friday afternoon with the, which is just doom, right? Just nothing stopping, just taking out highs, taking out levels, and just stopping up there. There was a couple of zones that I took off the chart because they got pierced. There was a gap up there that got filled. There was all kinds of nonsense going on up here, and for now, we're just looking for the first lower high in order to take a chance at shorting this. If you're not, you know, if you're not going to just take it as a swing, you stop above the highs, which is totally possible at this point because of where we closed on the weekly charts. If you're a swing trader, you should be short already, and if you're not, so you're looking for a chance. I would say the minute we get a lower high down here on the 15, you can see we're sitting at like a flag type of formation up here. We get pushed down and we come back up and test a little bit. to the upside, you want to try a short. Okay, there's a lot of air under here, not difficult to get your risk off. For sure, this area where the breakout is demand at 55 will get tested and create a bounce up. So depending on your style of trading, you could be short into that area because of the arrow. You could wait for that area to get cleared and then create a lower high and then try the shorts. But the short is the trade for this week. 52, I would say, is the safe bet, and potentially even 50 for crude. Okay, you might have a question. Please feel free to ask it now. Cool. Not much. Alrighty. Cool. So that's my crude speech. All right, I'm looking for shorts. Let's talk about gold, because gold. Oops, someone does have a question. Hold on, I missed it. There we go. David. Hey, Dave. Okay, go ahead. Mike's on, Dave.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. On the crude, you're saying the shorts for this week, but
yep.
I see you have demand zones before your target of 52. Would you?
I do, but they're lower time frames demand zones. Yeah, those demand zones, what should happen here, just because their demand doesn't mean they're going to hold, right? What we should be seeing is, I'm going to try to draw, so hopefully this doesn't get screwed up, right? I'm going to push down, we're going to bounce up, right? Make a lower high, make a lower low, make a lower high, make a lower low. We should push down somewhere into this range, right? In this area.
You're saying those are just small bumps, if you want to take a small profit, you could take those.
There's a lot of air under here, first of all, right? We just showed it to you on the 15 into this area. If you're looking for, for the bigger trade, you'll see that there's plenty of room under here, right? This is a 240 chart. So you can wait for this and then wait for this. And then when this comes on the chart, now you have a short that goes from like 55-ish or so like that down into the 52. You get $3 out of this. There'll be nothing in the way. So depending on your style of trading, it depends, what kind of trader you are. You're a day trader only, so you're going to have to take a couple of trades to make this. And if you're more of a, swing trader or a short-term trader, you can get short pretty soon and try to ride this out and use this bounce as an add-on inflection point where you can add on to your trade. Right? Get into the trade, take some off down here, wait for the bounce, add some more back, and then ride this down. Depends on your style of trading.
Do you care if the demand zone is violated, or you only care as long as it's touched and pushed out of there?
I did not follow your question. Do you mean down here, when it gets down here?
You get, if it goes through it, or, as long as the touches goes up, you're fine with that as well.
That's why it doesn't have to go totally through the zone. As long as it pushes into the zone and then bounces and turns around somewhere lower down than here, than the top, you're good to go. No problem. We'll turn around and then we'll start breaking down. I don't care about the zone being violated the first time. It just needs to get into the zone. Expect the bounce from there, especially because it's looking like we got the bottom of the Bollinger Bands and the 50 moving average are going to lay out right inside this zone on the 240 chart. We'll definitely get a bounce out of that. And again, depending on your style, it's either going to be that's where you're going to exit and re-enter, or you're going to use it to take profits and partially close part of your trade and then add the rest back on when you get the lower high. And that's just what kind of trader you are. So, but expect this. Okay, this is what a bounce out of that zone, a lower high, and then a test of somewhere inside this 53, 50, 52 range, somewhere down here into this breakout where we could see where the prior highs were. And that, where we turn around here, then we're talking about all the way up to 60. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's do next. All right, so if anyone else doesn't have a question, we're going to move on to, what's next? Euro. Let's do the euro. Actually, let's do gold first, because that's the order that I have it down there. It's easier. And gold this week did some funky stuff, really strange, and not something that the bulls should be happy with. First of all, on the monthly chart, right? We got this inverted hammer, right? We were pushed down. We were able to actually be green for a part of the month, and we turned over and closed lower than the prior month with another inverted hammer. And on the weekly chart, similar type story. We have these opposing hammers now after the lower high that was put in a couple of weeks back, and that pretty much tells me we're going to take out this pivot. I think we're done as far as this level on the daily, where we're telling these lows are going to be broken, and I think it's going to happen this week. There isn't that much room underneath before a major bounce in gold comes. I was actually expecting it to happen this week, but it looks like they want to just mess with everybody else one more time. It looks to me like we're going to see like 57-ish. That's what I can see here. You know, down into this, you can see the 200 moving average and the lower Bollinger Bands on the daily chart are sitting inside this zone, which is this low back here, which is below the prior low, right? So the daily chart will actually going to flip into a downtrend when we get into that area, and there is another demand zone. It's sort of like level on level. I drew the middle one with a different color, but the zone goes all the way down to 48, right? There's this thing here. These two circles are, right, sort of like two zones on top of each other. All right, this is the upper zone where part 1 is here, and that's 57 as the low, and then there's the other one where 48 is the low down here. So I don't think we're going to see 48 below 50. Hard to believe it, you know, but we will probably see the 57th. And there should be some heavy-duty orders sitting down there, and I think we're actually going to see a lower low down here and then a massive explosive move out. All right, so the beginning of the week, weakness for gold, not looking good at all. I didn't like the way the close went at the end of the week, just not showing the strength that it should have. It had an opportunity to get through this zone, and it just totally failed that day back here when it touched this 240 supply back here. Right, this thing right here touched our supply zone, this zone, and immediately was reversed. And then right here, when it started to rally up there, it couldn't even get back there, and then broke down out of this. So, you know, this is gone. We're going to end up inside this 57 zone down here. So gold shorts for now until we get down there. And then start to consider that either you want to close it or you want to watch it really carefully, because I'm expecting a pretty strong bounce out of that neighborhood. Okay, trend will be down, so you don't want to sit an order down there and just hanging around down there to buy it, because you know, you really need to see it turn around first. So shorts in the week, beginning of the week, and then looking for some strength later on. That's the gold analysis. If anybody have a question, you can raise your hand. Cool. Alrighty, let's look at the euro. So first of all, last couple of months the euro's fizzled out, okay, and you can see that we've put in another red candle on the monthly chart. There is a lot of room underneath us if we break that 16,040. As far from a monthly perspective, you know, we have room to run all the way back to this breakout area. Don't think that's going to happen, but I do believe we should be seeing one more push down from the euro this week. And you can notice that this week, as far as the weekly candle is concerned, we put in a really ugly dragonfly inverted right down there, and we closed almost at the lows of the week, and we're sitting in the air. You can see that there's actually nothing here to hold us up, which means we should be breaking down further, somewhere into maybe the tops of these candles, where there's a demand zone sitting on a lower time frame, around, I think it was like 15 something or other, where I saw some really nice looking demand. We're going to go look at it together, but that's the anticipation for now, that we're going to see a sell-off in the euros. You could see what the daily chart is. I sort of plotted it for you there. The flag that's going on right here, we had an engulfing candle on Friday, right after this big sell-off, bang, 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 flag, and then the engulfer, and then, you know, the measurement of this bear flag drops us right into this 15, you know, around 1500 zone, which is basically this area, right? This whole little demand zone sitting up there, and that would complete, I think, this whole head and shoulders formation that we had sitting up here on the top of the euro chart, right? And this is the bottom of the neckline, and after that, it's just, we should start to see, you know, big move out and back above, you know, into the 1.2 area. So beginning of the week, again, major weakness, I think, is going to come into the euro. We're going to end up somewhere in this 14 to 15 range, and then the turnaround is going to come. Okay. So shorts are the way to go for now. Looking like there's still plenty of room under there. You know, take a look at the 240. You can see the weakness is very clear. We went right into the bottom of this prior bottom down here. After we chopped through it, we back tested a massive rejection up there, and then the continuation, and then just a little pause because we were so oversold so fast. And I think we're going to see a drop-based drop over here coming and pushing us down into that lower demand zone. Let's go look at the zone on the 60. I think I marked it off. Go take a look. I did. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit and show it to you. So there's this first part down here is not the one I think it's gonna. I don't think that's gonna hold, because if we break out of it, you could see how big the flag is. All right, that's gonna put us really into this 1500 range, and there's a really nice zone around there, 1.5. So I would say the target 1.5 on the shorts, and then start to look for a bounce down here someplace. You know, we'll get a little pause here, maybe a back test to this, and then the big leg down. But shorts is euros into 1.5. So plenty of room to the downside for us here. Okay. Questions? Cool. Cool. All right. You guys are making it easy on me. Okay. Who's up there? David and then Malik. Okay. Yes, Dave. Go ahead.
Joe?
Yes, sir.
Nobody's
Gotcha.
asking. Nobody's asking.
No, go ahead. Be my guest.
I gotta do it.
No problem.
I'm looking at the Euro chart, and in
Mm-hmm.
the daily chart, it looks a downtrend, and you know, the trend is in it. So, you know, what makes you think the trend will reverse? I mean, what do you see that?
Good. Okay, so let's talk about that. I think I just mentioned why, but I'll sort of reiterate it for you. So give me a second. The downtrend that you're seeing is right at basically the head and shoulders formation at the top. Right, this was our high. We sold off here. We have a pivot here, and then this is like a base, a drop here, and a base here, and push down here. So what I see is a completion of the head and shoulders. Right, you see that, right? Into the top of the last demand zone, really, where this whole formation started. Okay, and if I go down into, which I'm going to do for you now, a second, switch to the weekly chart. So what's the trend here, Dave?
It's still kind of an uptrend, yeah.
All right. So this is really where the last demand zone on the weekly chart's sitting, right around this tops around here, right? So that's why I'm saying that once this daily level is finished and we end up back in this weekly level down here around 115, then we should be heading back at least to test the top with a and then a lower high. There are no lower highs on this weekly chart yet. All we have is a rally base drop. Base drop. So this is all selling pressure coming off the top without a test of these sellers yet. So in order for trend to turn around on the weekly chart, we actually have to make a lower high first and then sell off, right? And so that means there has to be a bounce. The bounce has to come from somewhere that makes sense. And that's why I'm telling you that I believe that what should happen is around 1.5, which is going to get us back into this area. The demand that I'm showing you is where that bounce should happen. Test of the last breakout. Demand.
Would you be putting a limit order, or you would wait for
No. We're in a downtrend at that point. At that point, you're in a downtrend, so you don't want to buy long on limit order, right? You're in a downtrend. You can be short into that zone, and then what you want to watch is for the lower time frames to start to show you that they've turned over. When you get start to see an uptrend on a 60 chart, that's when you can start to take a long into that, and start to ride it back up. But wait for that, okay? Because it takes a long time for the trend to change from the lower time frames to actually turn around and start going up again, especially when you're going to have a downtrend on the daily, like you're saying, which is true. It will take time, so there'll be a push up and a push down and break the low and rally up again and start like it's going to go. It's going to pull back again. So if you try to get in too early, you're actually going to get stopped out a few times. You may get some depending on your discipline and how you trade, you may be able to make some money out of it. But until you start to see the uptrend on the 60, it's a difficult uphill battle. Because the sellers are still pushing down. So once the 60 trend starts turning around, now you have a little bit more, strength to your longs. It's a lot safer to start trading long. So I would tell you, you want to be short into that level, and then you either want to get out and wait, or you want to, start to trade a little bit more strict for profits. Take money as you see it, and wait for it to actually start turning the trend around. Okay.
And would you be watching the dollar showing some weakness as well?
Of course, the dollar has. This is all based on the dollar. The dollar is coming up into a supply zone around. I think it's like 95.50, 95.70, right around that area that I was looking at before. And that's why I'm saying also because the dollar is going to get into its supply over there, and we're going to start to see the thing turn over. So this level here is going to correspond to the dollar supply zone. Right over here, and that's why I'm telling you that what we should see is the end of that formation on the on the daily head and shoulders, which would get us into the dollar supply zone where this is going to be in the demand, and it's going to be ready to go. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have a question from the week. Looks like. Hold on. All right, Loic, you should be good to go. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Joe, I forgot to take myself off. You answered the question when you replied it to
okay. Cool. No problem. You got it.
Thanks.
All right. No problem. Okay. Moving on. Next. All right. So let's look at the yen. Yen looks like crap. Not happy with what I'm seeing. As far as the monthly chart, you could see again another low, right? Another red candle selling off, but we're sort of stuck here. You see these lows down here, like 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth time that the low is sitting at 87.55, right around that area. Okay, you can see weekly chart 2 over here, here, and it's just stuck right in this area, and it doesn't look like it's going to hold anymore. Why am I saying that? I'll show you. Take a look here on the daily chart. Okay, follow me for a second. First time we're in the demand here, right? We push into these wicks back here, we rally up to here. Cool. Come back to the demand over here. And then we make a new high. Great, the demand's still strong. We come back to the demand over here. And then what do? This crap right here, lower highs, and then we come back again and again. It's done. Okay, this level is finished, which means we're going to be breaking down under the lows, and we're going to end up somewhere here or even lower. I'm going to zoom out for a second to show you. So the yen is not looking good at all. At some point, the market's not going to keep on allowing the BOJ to do this, but it's going to just rip to the other side. But right now, it looks like it's coming down back, and you can see that this level is going to break because of analysis. This thing, first level here is gone, and that means we're coming down into this area, back underneath here, and under that, and then, all the way here. Can we get there? Absolutely. Is it going to happen right away? Nope. I would say, for now, target's inside this zone. It's sort of like that gold, right? 1257 area. When gold is at 1257, the yen will be right here. And that's, again, going to be a chance for this thing to start to rally out at the top. Again, not very far before it gets into some serious supply, but that's about as far as I can see it going this week. So somewhere down into this 86 and change level. This is the wicks under here. You can see it held quite a few times. Erase that for a second and we got it. The zone was back here, and then we came here once, here, twice, here, touched it here a third time, touched it here a fourth time. Right, and after that we made new highs. Right, and we haven't been back there since March. There'll be a reaction out of this area, especially after we break through this demand zone. So that'll land in here, and then back test to the breakout area and all that kind of stuff. It becomes a lower time frame trade until it starts turning around again. Now, again, the yen will also be in a downtrend at that point, so it's going to be a time for it to start rallying again. So yen weakness again early in the week, looking like it's going to end up inside that demand zone underneath us. Let's take a look on the 240. So there's the one I'm talking about. It's back here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So This is the 86 level that I'm talking about under here. That's where it's tightening it up a little bit on the 240. It's 86.6 and change, and after that you can see there's a big air, a lot of room in here. This is 86. That's the end of the line as far as I'm concerned for the next leg down. We should, if we don't react out of here, which we very well might likely, because we have made new highs out of this area and have not been back there yet. This one will definitely get us stopped as far as the selling. So, shorts into somewhere, we're more than likely going to hit that for now. So that's almost 1,000. That's like 200 ticks down for yen. So that's the trade for now. Looking for shorts until we get down into those zones. Okay. Questions? Not yet. Cool. Okay. So that's the yen starting to break down. You can see this supply zone up here on the 60 got hit a couple of times last week. It broke down further. We back tested now, and I'm pretty sure we're just going to roll over out of this thing and start breaking down under the lows. So I'm looking for 86. Do you have a question?
Hi, Joe. Do you pay attention to the Bollinger Band and picking the reversal points in any time frame?
So yes, the answer is I do. The way that it works for me when I'm getting interested in it, it's going to be a demand zone on the wrong side of the Bollinger Bands on a 240 chart, which means when yen hits a demand and it's on a 240 chart and the demand zone is outside the Bollinger Bands, that's expect that the price will turn around.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so you're looking for such demand zones on the opposite side of the Bollinger, which means, you can see it. Like, I'll give you an example back here. You'll see it right here, right? See the one, this wick down here? The demand zone was outside the Bollinger Bands at the time. You had a big bounce, right? So that's my little signal. Okay, so you pay attention to that, and you'll see that it's fairly accurate. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. No problem. Okay, anybody else? Moving on. Let's look at NatGas. Okay, so NatGas has been playing with people's head for the past 2-3 weeks. As far as the weekly chart, let's do the monthly. It's just an insight. Actually, sorry, it was like equal tops and took out the lows and just sort of sideways. These last 3 weeks have been a little wild for NatGas, right? We have the opposing hammer, right? 2 weeks ago, up, down, and now another one, back up again, right? Strong move out of the bottom down here. We'll look at that in a minute, but we had rollover in here, and that's pretty much what the sell-off was. We filled the rollover gap, went a little bit beyond it, came back to the demand zone of the prior month's contract, and then we started rallying out of there. You can see on the 240, we had a rally up into some supply, and we've gotten a golden cross back here on the 240 chart. See that? 50 moving average moved above the 200 moving average, and I think we're going to start to see a pretty strong rally in NatGas this week. 3.1, I would say, up into this supply is almost a given for this week. There isn't really much above us. If we're able to get above that level, that's the real move that's going to start. We're talking about 325 and 335 and major NatGas rallies. Besides the seasonality, this is the season for it. It started to show some strength on the charts after that last move down, and it didn't break the bottom again for us. And, this is what I'm looking at on the daily chart. So this was the gap rollover, right? The new price opened right inside the supply zone of the prior month, and it just filled the gap. Boom, 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 came back, held the lows, started to rally. We just cleaned out this supply zone here, right? And now there's just nothing but air up into this area. So once we clear these zones up here, we'll see on the lower time frames, this is the target, all the way up here, and then potentially even up into 3-4. So NatGas looks to me like I'm going to start to erase this and put a couple of things on the chart that'll help you see better what I'm seeing. Erase all this. Okay, look down here. See this? And then you got all these holding over here, and all this on this side is holding up here. And this is where they got the 317 here. It's like a neckline here, right? It's like inverted head and shoulders with potential to shoot all the way through the top. Right now we're into this area where there's nothing in the way. So strength for nat gas this week for sure. I would say this is probably one of the better trades of the week, long into like 3.7, 3.07 at least, 3.1. There's a couple levels over here on this 240. You could see where we stopped right here, and nat gas lost the gap. So I would be surprised if we gap up tonight, and we hit some of the supply up here. I think 3.1 is a very fair target for this week. Okay, and if we're able to clear that zone, it's just sit back and let it go. It's going to get the 325. There's a lot of air up there on the daily chart. Okay, let's go look at the smaller time frames for a second. So here's the 60. Right? You can see that there isn't really great supply before we get here. This is our demand zone that we had down there, and we just came into the air over here, right? And we were able to finish off the air, and we came back to this supply zone, right? In a little bit of supply in here. We're closing the week there. Nat gas will probably gap through and just screw everybody who's trying to be short in this zone, and end up someplace up here. And then again, you can see really there isn't great supply until 3-1. Even this is not the greatest. So from the lower time frame perspective, you see that the supplies are not that strong. I would not be surprised if we get into this 315 even here. Nat gas looks to be very strong. So now, what happens if you're not in the trade and you want to get into longs? Well, there's a couple of possibilities. If we get a pullback into, let's say, this last breakout area over here, that's a chance to draw right around 3. Somewhere in this area is definitely a possibility if we get a pullback into that tonight or tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll have to look for some new zones that are going to be created as we hit some of the supply. Start to buy pullbacks on the lower time frame demand zones. You should be starting to see higher highs and higher lows like we're already seeing down here at the 60. And I'm looking for 3-1 is a safe target for nat gas. It's over 100 ticks from where we are. Okay. Cool. Any questions? Nope. Okay, 2 more. I'm going to do Canadian. I'm going to do maybe 3. Aussie, pounds, and Canadian. I'm actually going to do pounds first because I think this is besides that gas, this one is one of the really best trades I've seen for this coming week. I like this one, the setup, the most. So let's look at that. We'll do pounds first, and then I'll do Aussie, and I'll do Canadian. Okay. From the higher time perspective, we can see that the pounds have hit this trend line, this long-term monthly trend line, and started to push back a little bit. We're getting the hammer from last month and a little bit of a sell-off on the beginning of the week from that area. The week closed as an engulfing bearish candle. But when we start to go down into the daily and the 240 and the 60, we start to see a really nice trade. Let me show you what I'm seeing. Okay, so first, we came into supply, right, and we came back into demand. Okay, this was that level of trend line, long-term trend line we hit over there. We came right into demand back here. We rallied up, made a lower high, and we pushed up back into the supply after making a higher low, and then we took out anybody that was in here for longs, and we ended up right inside this demand that we started from. Okay, now if this starts to hold, which I'm going to show you that it's looking like it is, well, that means that there really shouldn't be, at least from the daily perspective, any fresh supply until we get above this zone. Right? And we should turn around here, take out that level, and get all the way back through the top. Okay, so we'll see if that is feasible or not. Okay, let's go look down. This is daily. What does the 240 look like? Well, okay, I see a double bottom. Right? I see the lows back here. I see we've hit it here. I see we hit it here. We rallied up into the supply zone. The supply zone sold off and then didn't make a new low. It actually started to retrace, which means if it gets back up here, there's no more supply here. And what's above here? Nothing. Zero. Well, that would bring me up to here. Well, okay. That's where I sold off from last, but that really didn't break the bottom either. So we'll get a reaction, but that's not going to hold either, which means we get through that too. Right? Which means this is starting to develop into something that's really big. Okay. Let's go look at the 60. I look at the 60, I see, even from a short-term perspective, a beautiful trade. Do we not see this low here? And then we rally up into this little supply zone. We pop down, and we ended up taking out some stops under here. We had make the double bottom. That was the low that's other low that's back there. And then we rally up, clear out the supply, push down, and now we start hanging around here. So again, if we're able to hold this and get back into this zone, or just start rallying here and put my stop under here, we're talking about somewhere up here for fresh supply. This is a huge trade, all right? So that's the long I'm looking at for pounds. Let's take a look on the lower time frame if we see something even clearer than that. But that's looking to be like a really nice long. Oh, here's the 15. Okay, and this one is just screaming. Okay, there's the supply. It's been touched. There, we came back into the demand zone. Here, we hit the supply zone that was here. We pushed back down. We held the zone. We came back, and this is already starting to end, which means there's just, even through here, there's plenty of money, and then this zone is not going to hold anymore because of what happened down here. And now we're really up into here. This is a massive trade. So this is the prettiest trade I've seen this week, long in BP, you know, into, I would say, somewhere around 1.3, whatever this is up here, 3.4 or 3.34, you know, something like that. Down here, you know, 340, I don't know what the hell, that's a huge trade. So, you know, that's something you guys want to consider. I will be trying to get myself into that one. I'm currently not in it yet, but really nice looking trade, okay? Questions? All right, cool. Moving on. So that was my pound trade. I want to show you guys Aussie and Canadian, and then I will move on. Oh, somebody raised their hand. Who's that? Bleak. Yes, man. What's up? Go ahead. You're on.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, can you hear me?
Not here. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Looking at the demand zone on the 15, it's already been tested twice. Would you wait for a third test down?
Nope. Nope. If it goes back down without making a new highs, it's going to break. It has to rally out of here.
So would you wait for a small, like, would you wait for...
Yeah, well, right now, once we clear this area, there's just air. So you can take a breakout here. Your stop will go under here, right? You would take a breakout. You have to see how it opens. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room to get risk off of this trade. No problem, right? There's nothing here. So, otherwise, you know, right now, if you want to get long, you just have to keep your stop under here. If this demand zone breaks, the whole trade falls apart. Cannot get back down into this area because then we're going to have lower highs and we're going to break the bottom. So this has to hold right here. That's where you're wrong, under 3069. Calculate your risk where you want to get in. That's where the stop is to go. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Hey, Neuron John.
Hey, Joe.
What's up?
Hey, I agree with your higher time frame, but given that, you know, the euro has room to the downside and JY has room to the downside and the dollar has room to the upside, I just think it's going to go lower first before it goes higher.
Okay, so if it goes lower first, let me just see. Right. Where is it going? Is there a demand zone underneath? I don't remember seeing anything that made sense under here, so let's go look. Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
let's go look. under the roof.
It might just fall in sympathy
so
with
this
the euro.
level here, okay, but you under here,
Yeah, if you go on the daily.
maybe like just like right here. Let's take a look. Well, possible.
Yeah, the weekly is still up. The weekly is still up, but
it's possible. It's possible, but it's already shown me strength, though. I don't know that it's going down there, but yeah, you know, of course it's possible. Anything's possible. I definitely know I want to be long. That much I know. You know, can I get in right this second? I don't have it. I'm not in the trade. I can't really find the entry other than the breakout. We have to see how it opens tonight. But I do know that if it starts rallying into this area on the 15, that there's room for me to get my risk out of this trade for sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, take a small profit.
Yeah, there's nothing here. There's nothing up here. So we got to see how it opens. If it opens down, yeah, I agree with you. It may end up into one of those other demand zones, but we don't know that until it does. You know what I mean? Right now, it closed at the end of the week, really looking nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
Yep, I agree with you. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Whoever that is with your 330 telephone number, I don't have your name, so speak up and tell me your name.
Joe, this is Ash.
Hey Ash, how you doing, man?
Good, thank you. How you doing?
All righty.
I just the breakout which you're talking about. Would you be adding onto your position after 31.54?
100%. Absolutely, 1,000,000% add on up there beyond the breakout up here. There's air up here. Definitely. No problem to add on up here. Absolutely.
Because absolutely. I see very clearly after 3100.
Yeah, ton of room up here. No problem to add on. Agreed.
Excellent.
Agreed.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
You got it. Okay, cool. So that was pounds. Let's move to Aussie. Okay, so first off, Aussie on the monthly chart, right? So you can see that, you know, we had a really long time of hanging out around these highs, banging against this supply zone back here from the bottom. Bang, 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 bang. A little pushback over here, and then boom, we take it out and end up into the top or higher supply. And now we've come back to test the breakout. You can see that, right? I'll show it to you on the weekly chart. As far as trend is concerned here, this to me looks like an uptrend, right? Lower, higher low, higher highs, and we're just pushing back a little bit, clearing out the supply zone. I'm pretty sure we're going to see this. From a weekly perspective, we should get back into this zone up here. I'm sorry, monthly perspective, right? So that's going to take time, obviously, but that's the target. We should be making another high, in the next couple of weeks. But that's going to have to turn around for us, right? We've been selling off for now 3 weeks or so. Let's go take a look. A little more than 3 weeks. 3 weeks on the last leg down, but prior to that, another couple of weeks before. But that was why we came up into that supply zone on the monthly chart that I just showed you, right? Fresh monthly supply back there, and that did this, right? That started selling us off. We got to the test over here, beginning. We just bounced a little bit, made another low high. Now we got really into this meat of this area, okay? And we're at the 50 moving average on the weekly chart. We tested it last week. We tested it again this week. It closed a little bit weak, but I really believe we're going to see an actual pretty strong bounce out of this area on Aussie dollars, and I'll show you why I say that. Take a look here. So again, yeah, is there a little bit more room underneath us? Absolutely. But we're already at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. We just came under the 200 moving average. We're sitting on top of this demand zone, so maybe we get, a dot lower into this area right here. Maybe we don't get this far down. Maybe we just get to the beginning. And then we're going to see something like this all the way back up here. This zone has to get tested. It hasn't been touched yet, and it's going to get hit, and it's going to happen from almost where we are, or maybe slightly under us. Let's go look down on the Aussie here. here's the demand zone that's I've been bouncing on top of. So you could see we've cleaned out the supply. This one doesn't look as strong as pounds, right? The pounds started looking a lot better. This one did clean out this supply zone here for us. And it's sort of hanging around here, but it could get, a little bit deeper. We're going to get, a bounce out of this area. The only question is where is it going to stop? So currently we're in a downtrend. You don't really want to get long just yet down here. It's not really showing that much strength yet, but Aussie is it's also very correlated with gold. So gold, as we know, is going to sell off a little bit in the beginning of the week. So I would say, later in the week is when this trade is going to develop. We're going to hit, let's see that level, there it is, okay, underneath us a little bit. Right around the 7,600 even. So another, 50 ticks down there, 76 even somewhere down there is going to give us a hold, and then I think the beginning of a big bounce in Aussie dollar, big bounce. We're going to come back, and test these higher, all the way up here. So back to 8,000. So about 300-400 ticks is a swing trade for that down there, from down that area. But again, how do you get into that trade? You're going to have to wait for the 60 to turn around. When you start to see an uptrend of the 60, that's when you're going to start to get into those longs. Okay, so that one is later in the week. Again, it's going to have some weakness, it looks like. In the beginning of the week, it's still sitting down there. So for that matter, now, yeah, maybe the BP on the Ranjan is going to have a little bit of a sell-off. We'll have to see. It's looking a lot stronger. Aussie doesn't look as strong, so we'll wait and find out. But the bounce is going to happen this week, and it's going to start to hold. Okay, so early weakness, later strength. That's the Aussie dollar trade. After that, I wanted to show you Canadian, and then we're going to wrap it up. So if anyone's thinking about asking a question, you're running out of time if you're all right. So there we go. Last asset, Canadian. First, ugly. Oh, come on, right at the end. Oh, good, it went away. Okay, I'm not drawing the rest of the session, so we don't have to freeze. So take a look here on the monthly chart, right? We got this big ass wick into the supply zone, and then a huge sell-off on the monthly last month, and we started bouncing just already on last week for whatever last couple of days. So we closed the month looking really bearish, but we did come into lower time frame from a monthly perspective, lower time frame demand. It's a weekly level, and it's starting to hold. Okay, so if this becomes another, we're already in an uptrend here. We can see that a higher low and higher high. This turns around, becomes another higher low. Sorry, we end up with another higher high, which puts us back up into the zone up here around 9,000. So Canadian is actually looking really strong. Now take a look over here on the weekly chart. You can see we're in an uptrend, and there's the demand zone that we hit, and you can see that we put in a nice little hold for the last week's candle. If we can get a continuation, so we'll be back at supply zone up here. I didn't draw it yet, but it's right around there, right around 8,000. That should give us the first higher low on the way back. I really want to draw, but I can't. So look for a supply. I would say around 8,000, a pullback to create another higher low somewhere over here, right? And then the next leg up and to take out the tops. We have to clear that supply. So here's what it looks like on the daily. There's our hold of the demand zone that we came into. There's a supply overhead. So 8,500 looks to be the level here, but we've got about 79 on the daily chart. It looks like we have to clear this supply zone. So the daily is sort of in a downtrend, depending on how you want to call this area, if this is a pivot or just a base. But either way, we have to get up there by creating a higher low first, right? Because their supply zone is in the way, and we're just going to bounce into that. So this has to be either a rally base in this area rally, or it has to be rally based, or then the rally. We don't know what's going to happen, but either way, we're going to get up into that 7,900 plus range, right? Yeah, I agree. CD is the one showing the most strength around 100%. 100%. You could see that it's already cleared into the area. You see this bottom on the 240, it had this double bottom. It cleared the middle. It's in the middle of the air already. It's got nothing in the way. This is because crude was going ballistic on Friday, and that's why Canadian that it did. But it's clearly showing the most strength with a lot of room above us. You can see that until we get up here. So, a test of this level, and then another higher low opens up above the supply zone, because above the supply is more air, which means we're in air already. I have the supply zone. That's going to be your first target. You should look for a pullback out of that. When the higher low comes on the chart again after that, next leg up is 8,000. And that's the level that we're going to say. For this week, I think we can see 8,000 on Canadian, somewhere up here. We'll probably get up into this in the early part of the week and then pull back or there, pause or something, and then we pop that thing and we end up someplace up here. But definitely Canadian is the strongest out of the currencies that we're looking at. The one with the greatest profit potential, I think, really is BP. Even though it's not looking as strong as Canadian, it is showing the most as far as profits that are available. So those for currencies are the ones that I like the best. BP first, Canadian second. As far as some of the other stuff, nat gas long is really looking really great. And some of the smaller trades like gold short into the 57 level, or crude when it starts to pull back into 52s, those are pretty decent trades for the week. But by far, the one I like the best is the pound, and then Canadian long. Okay. Ash has another question, so go ahead, my man, ask it.
Hey Joe,
yep.
Do you see Canadian off of 4 hour I'm looking at? Do you see Canadian going all the way to 83,000?
I do. But I don't see it on the 4 hour. I think it was on the daily, but I definitely see it going up there, my friend. Absolutely.
Because I don't see any real supply holding it.
So there's definitely a level here at 8,000, that much you agree, right? Around 8,000.
Right.
After that, 82, 83, up here someplace where you can see that I have no other levels. There's one at like 81, 82 up here, 80, right? You see that? This zone that's up here, right there. But it's been tested. It did make new lows, so it might not hold, but it should do something. But 83.
8,200 may give a little bit of a drop before it pushes up to it.
Agreed. I agree. That's why I'm looking at new highs on the weekly chart. If you're looking at it from a weekly perspective, right, Canadian is in an uptrend. We're in a weekly demand zone. We should get through the top. If we turn around here, this will be a higher low, and we're just going to get to a new high.
Right. Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Okay. That's it, folks. Anybody have a question, ask now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next Sunday. All right, guys. Ciao. Trade safe, trade smart. See you next week. All the best.